All right, so are you ready to take a deep dive with me today?
Always ready to dive in.
Great. Well, we're tackling the New Jersey drone sightings.
Ah,
Seems like our listeners can't get enough of this one.
well, it is pre-strained.
I mean, tons of articles, reports, social media chatter even.
Yeah, it's interesting. They aren't your typical drone sightings either.
Right, these are not just like some kid flying their toy around the park.
Exactly. We're talking descriptions of things as big as SUVs.
Whoa, hold on, as big as SUVs, like I can't even picture that.
Some witnesses say that. Yeah, not just one drone either.
Really? So multiple.
Flying in formations.
Okay, now that's a little creepy.
And get this, some reports even say they were able to evade helicopters and radar detection.
Wait, so they were like stealth drones?
Seems like it, which is pretty unsettling.
You know what gets me, though, is that it's not just like one isolated incident.
Right. It was this whole wave that started back in mid-November 2024.
Mid-November, so like 2 months ago.
Yeah, and it just kept going, spreading across New Jersey, even reaching into nearby states.
So not just a New Jersey thing anymore.
Nope, much wider than that.
Do you have any specific sightings that really stand out to you?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Lay it on me.
Like that one near Raritan Valley Community College back on November 26th.
November 26th. Okay, so right in the thick of it.
Yep. A drone sighting actually caused a helicopter rescue mission to be diverted.
No way, seriously.
Yeah, pretty crazy, right? And then there's the reports from this resident in Morris County.
What happened in Morris County?
This person claimed to have seen groups of these drones near the Boonton Reservoir.
Boonton Reservoir. Okay.
And not just once, multiple nights in a row.
Okay, so this person's seeing these things night after night.
Exactly. It definitely makes you wonder what's going on.
Yeah, that's not just a coincidence at that point.
Right, something's up.
So what happened then? I mean, did anyone do anything about all this?
Oh yeah, the authorities definitely got involved.
Who are we talking?
Well, the FAA, for one, they didn't mess around.
What did it?
They temporarily banned drone flights in a bunch of areas across New Jersey and New York.
Whoa, so they just shut it all down.
Pretty much. And they also put temporary flight restrictions, those TFRs,
Yeah, I've heard of the
over specific spots where sightings were happening.
smart move trying to control the airspace.
Yep. And those restrictions lasted until January 17th, just a few days ago.
Wow, so pretty recently.
Yeah, it shows how seriously they took this whole thing.
So it wasn't just the FAA, right?
Oh, no, it went way beyond that. We're talking FBI, Department of Homeland Security, even the Department of Defense.
You're kidding, the Department of Defense?
Yep, they were all over it. I mean, imagine the FBI investigated thousands of reports.
Thousands. That's a lot.
It is, but here's the thing. Only around 100 were considered credible enough for a deeper look.
Really?
Yeah.
Thousands of reports, but only 100 deemed worthy of further investigation.
Exactly.
I mean, that makes you wonder, doesn't it?
For sure.
Either there's a lot of misidentification going on,
Possible.
or there's something more to this story.
Definitely a possibility. And of course, you know how it is. Social media went into overdrive.
Oh, yeah, I can only imagine.
People were posting videos and photos trying to figure out what was going on.
I bet there were some wild theories floating around.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But it wasn't just random speculation. They were actively trying to crowdsource answers.
Really? Like a collective investigation online?
Yep. There was even a Facebook group dedicated to cracking this mystery.
No way. What a story. How many people were in this group?
Over 75,000 members.
Wow. That's incredible. People really got invested.
They did, but, that also brings its own challenges.
Yeah, what do you mean?
Well, we saw some of those social media posts featuring digitally altered footage.
Oh, no, really?
Yeah.
So people were faking it.
Some were.
Yeah.
Which just added to the confusion and spread misinformation.
That's the problem with the internet. Sometimes it's hard to know what's real and what's not.
Absolutely. And this case really highlights that.
It's a good reminder to be cautious about what we see online.
Absolutely. Always good to double check those sources, especially when things seem really out there.
Well said. Okay, so we've got these strange sightings, authorities scrambling to figure out what's going on, and social media blowing up.
Yep. It's a lot to unpack.
It is. So let's talk about what might actually be behind all of this.
Okay, let's dive into those explanations.
All right, what are we looking at here?
Well, one of the simplest explanations is misidentification.
Misidentification. Okay, so what you're saying is people might have just mistaken something else for a drone.
Exactly. Especially at night, it can be tough to tell what you're looking at.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Think about it. Could people have mistaken aircraft, helicopters, even bright stars for drones?
I guess so, especially if they weren't familiar with all the different types of aircraft out there.
Right. And remember, a lot of these sightings were reported near airport flight paths.
Oh, yeah, that's true. So maybe it was just planes taking off and landing?
Could be, but then you have another theory that these are E-drones.
Okay, so not misidentified, but actual drones.
But we're talking incredibly advanced technology stuff that's way beyond your average consumer drone.
Interesting. What kind of technology are we talking about?
Well, maybe they're being tested by companies or government agencies using cutting-edge tech that makes them hard to identify.
Super high-tech drones that could be mistaken for something else entirely.
Exactly. Think about how rapidly the drone industry has been evolving. It's not out of the realm of possibility.
Yeah, I mean, drone technology has come a long way, even in just the past few years.
Right, so imagine what's being developed behind closed doors.
Okay, so we've got misidentified aircraft and super advanced drones. What other explanations have been floating around?
Well, some have pointed to the possibility of foreign actors.
Foreign actors. Okay, so like espionage.
Potentially, could these drones be part of some secret operation by another country?
That's a chilling thought.
It is, and while there's no concrete evidence to support it, it definitely plays into those national security anxieties that we see so often.
Yeah, I can see how that would get people worried, especially with all the geopolitical tensions in the world right now.
Right, it's a sensitive topic.
It is. Well, okay, I know we have to address the elephant in the room here. What about aliens?
Of course, it wouldn't be a true mystery without a little extraterrestrial speculation.
Right. It's the theory that never goes away.
Nope. And it's been pretty popular on social media with these drone sightings.
I bet so. Any chance there's something to it.
Well, as you might expect, it lacks any real scientific backing.
Okay, so probably not aliens, but hey, you never know, right?
Never say never, but for now, let's stick with the more plausible explanations.
Fair enough. But it is interesting how the unknown can really capture our imaginations.
It is. It makes you wonder if there's something out there we haven't even begun to consider.
Absolutely. Well, let's bring it back down to Earth for a minute.
Sounds good.
It's interesting that despite all the attention, negative or otherwise, the drone industry itself seems to be doing just fine.
You're right. That is an important point. The industry appears to have weathered the storm.
So all this mystery hasn't hurt their business.
Seems not, which suggests it's pretty adaptable and potentially capable of addressing these public concerns.
That's good to hear. Yeah. But this whole situation does highlight something else too.
What's that?
The need for greater transparency from the authorities and better public education about drone technology and regulations.
I completely agree. More transparency and education could go a long way toward easing people's anxieties.
Okay, so we've got misidentified aircraft, super advanced drones, foreign actors, even aliens on the table.
Quite the mix.
It is, where do we go from here? How do we even begin to sort through all of this?
Well, without more concrete information from those investigations, it's difficult to say for sure which explanation is the most likely.
So we're waiting on those investigations.
In a way, yeah, but each theory does have its strengths and weaknesses, its own set of implications.
Right, and that's what makes this so fascinating.
Exactly. It's a puzzle with lots of pieces.
It is, and this situation, regardless of the explanation, speaks to a broader issue we're facing, keeping up with rapidly advancing technology.
Absolutely. It can be hard to know what's possible, what's real, and what's just speculation. It really is a fascinating thing, isn't it?
What's that?
This mix of wonder and apprehension, you know?
Yeah, I get that.
That's what the unknown does to us, I guess.
Right. It draws us in, but also makes us a little uneasy.
Exactly. It's both alluring and unsettling.
Well said. And I think that's what makes this whole New Jersey drone thing so captivating.
Right.
It's pushed us to the edge of what we thought we knew about technology, about security, even about our place in the universe.
It's a lot to wrap your head around.
It is. But let's get back to the practicalities for a moment.
Okay, sounds good.
We talked about potential threats, the need for better regulations and education around drones.
Right, important stuff.
But what does that actually look like? What can we do as individuals, as a society, to actually address those concerns?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It is. What are the solutions here?
Well, I think for starters, we need to move beyond this idea of drones as either harmless toys or ominous weapons.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
They're tools, and like any tool, they can be used for good or bad.
Right. The tool itself isn't inherently good or evil.
Exactly. It all comes down to how they're used and controlled.
So responsible development, implementation, and oversight.
That's the key.
Okay, so let's talk about responsible use. What specific steps could be taken to ensure that drone technology is used safely and ethically?
Well, on the regulatory front, stricter licensing requirements for drone operators could be helpful.
Stricter license. Okay, so like what are we thinking?
Well, mandatory training programs could ensure that anyone flying a drone, especially a larger, more sophisticated one, understands the rules of the airspace.
Makes sense. You don't want people just flying these things around without knowing what they're doing.
Exactly. They need to know the safety protocols, the potential consequences of reckless behavior.
So basically like a driver's license for drones.
That's a good way to put it, and perhaps even a tiered system based on the type and capabilities of the drone.
Oh yeah. So different licenses for different types of drones.
Right. A small recreational drone wouldn't require the same level of training as, say, a large commercial drone capable of carrying heavy payloads.
Okay, that makes sense. And what about the sale of drones? Can we put stricter regulations on that?
Definitely, especially for certain types of drones, particularly those with advanced capabilities that could be easily misused.
So controlling the flow of potentially dangerous technology.
Exactly, trying to keep it out of the wrong hands.
Right. Regulations sound good in theory, but what about enforcement? I mean, how do we actually monitor and regulate drone activity, especially given how easily they can be flown and often in remote areas?
That's a big challenge for sure, but technology itself might offer some solutions.
Interesting. So using technology to manage technology.
In a way, yes, advanced tracking systems, perhaps utilizing GPS and transponder technology, could make it easier to monitor drone flights in real time.
So we could see where they are at all times.
Potentially, and geofencing technology, which creates virtual boundaries that drones can't cross, could also be used to restrict drone activity in sensitive areas.
Geofencing, I've heard of that.
It's already being used in some applications, and it could be particularly useful for keeping drones away from airports or critical infrastructure.
Okay, so we've got our tracking geofencing. It seems like a bit of a cat and mouse game, though.
It is in a way, but the key is staying ahead of the curve, constantly adapting our regulations and enforcement mechanisms to keep pace with the rapid advancements in drone capabilities.
So it's an ongoing process.
Definitely, we can't just set it and forget it.
Well said. Okay, so regulations and enforcement are important, but what about public education? You mentioned that earlier.
Right, education is crucial.
How do we ensure that people understand the potential risks and responsibilities associated with drone use?
Well, public awareness campaigns could play a big role.
Public awareness. Okay, so like what kind of campaigns are we talking about?
Think about campaigns similar to those that have been successful in promoting safe driving or responsible firearm ownership.
Right, those are pretty impactful.
We could use a similar approach to highlight the rules and regulations surrounding drone use, emphasize the importance of respecting privacy, and demonstrate the potential consequences of reckless behavior.
So educating people about the potential impact of their actions.
Exactly. And what about incorporating drone safety and ethics into school curriculums?
Ooh, that's a good idea starting young.
It could be part of STEM education programs, teaching students about the technology, the applications, and the ethical considerations.
Yeah, that makes sense, exposing them to it early on.
We could even encourage responsible drone use as a hobby, fostering a culture of safety and respect from a young age.
I like that, focusing on proactive measures rather than reactive ones.
Right, prevention is always better than cure.
Well said. Okay, so we've talked about regulations, education. What about the role of the drone industry itself in all of this?
They have a huge responsibility here for sure.
In what way?
Well, companies developing and manufacturing drones need to prioritize safety and security features.
Okay, so building safety directly into the technology itself.
Think about built-in safeguards, like altitude limits, automatic return-to-home functions, and collision avoidance systems.
Those are all good features.
Right. And beyond the technical aspects, I think the industry needs to be more transparent about its operations.
Transparency is a big one.
It is openly communicating about testing activities, engaging with the public, and addressing concerns proactively could go a long way toward building trust and alleviating fears.
Right, being upfront and honest about what they're doing.
Exactly. And working with communities to ensure that drone use is beneficial and not disruptive.
It seems like communication is key in all this: transparency from the government, education for the public, and a willingness from the industry to be open and accountable.
I couldn't agree more. It's a collaborative effort.
Well said. But let's shift gears for a moment. We've been focused on the potential threats.
Okay.
Let's talk about the potential benefits of drone technology. What are some of the positive applications that we might see in the future?
Oh, the possibilities are almost endless.
Really give us some examples. Paint a picture of a future where drones are used in positive and beneficial ways.
All right, so imagine a world where drones are used to deliver medical supplies to remote areas.
Okay, that's a good one. Using drones to bridge the gap in healthcare access.
Exactly, providing life-saving care to people who might otherwise have limited access to health care.
Amazing. What else?
Picture drones equipped with sensors that can monitor air quality, track wildlife populations, or assess the health of crops.
So drones helping us protect the environment.
Exactly, providing valuable data that can help us manage our resources more effectively.
I like that it seems like drones could play a crucial role in environmental conservation efforts.
They could, and think about disaster relief.
Disaster relief. Okay, how would that work?
Well, in the aftermath of a natural disaster, drones could be used to assess damage, locate survivors, and deliver essential supplies.
Wow, that could potentially save lives.
It could, and it could also aid in recovery efforts by providing real-time information to emergency responders.
It's incredible to think about how this technology could be harnessed for good, isn't it?
It is, from healthcare to environmental protection to disaster relief. The potential is truly vast.
But as we've discussed with every new advancement, there's a responsibility to use that power wisely and ethically.
Absolutely. We can't let the excitement of the technology blind us to the potential risks.
Well said. So as we move forward with drone technology, we need to strike a balance.
Yes, a balance between fostering innovation and ensuring that it's used in a way that benefits humanity as a whole.
Okay, I like that, fostering innovation while also being mindful of the potential consequences.
That's the key, finding that sweet spot where technology and ethics align.
Well said. All right, so we've talked about responsible drone use regulations, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, the practical stuff.
But let's be honest, part of us loves a good mystery.
Right, of course, always room for a little intrigue.
Exactly, so let's indulge that for a bit. We've explored the more grounded explanations for these New Jersey drone sightings, misidentified aircraft, advanced technology.
Right, the more logical stuff.
But what if there's something more to this story? Something that really pushes the boundaries of what we currently understand?
It's tempting to dismiss the more outlandish theories, but there's definitely a certain allure to the unexplained.
For sure. And these New Jersey drone sightings have certainly sparked their fair share of speculation.
Oh, yeah, they have.
I mean, some of those witness accounts are pretty wild.
Wild in what way?
Well, drones moving silently at incredible speeds, even seeming to vanish into thin air.
Yeah, I've heard those reports.
Does any of that sound familiar to you?
It does echo some of the reports we've seen regarding unidentified aerial phenomena, or UAPs, as they're now often called.
UAPs, right? The more official, less alien-y term.
Exactly. But the connection is definitely intriguing.
So are we saying there could be a link between these New Jersey drone sightings
Yeah.
and the broader phenomenon of UAPs?
Well, it's certainly a possibility worth considering.
Okay, I'm listening.
Remember, the UAP phenomenon isn't just about little green men. It's about unexplained aerial activity that challenges our understanding of what's technologically possible.
Okay, so things we can't explain.
And some of the characteristics reported in the New Jersey sightings, the silent flight, the maneuverability, those do align with some UAP reports.
So there are some similarities.
There are, and it's something we can't just ignore.
Okay, so let's entertain this idea for a moment. If we're dealing with something truly unconventional, something beyond our current technological grasp, what are the implications?
Oh, that's the big question, isn't it?
It is. If these aren't just your average drones, what are we looking at?
Well, for one, it would suggest that there's a lot more going on in our skies than we realize.
More than we realize. Okay, so what are you thinking?
It could point to the existence of advanced technologies that we haven't even begun to imagine.
Technologies we can't even imagine. Wow.
Think about the implications for aviation, for defense, for our understanding of physics itself.
Yeah, that's a lot to take in.
It's a bit mind-boggling to think that there might be things happening right above our heads that completely defy our current understanding of the world.
Right, like we think we know how things work, and then something like this comes along and shakes it all up.
Exactly. It makes you question everything.
It does, and it raises some pretty big questions, too.
Like what?
Well, who or what is behind these advanced technologies?
Mm-hmm.
What are their intentions? Are they a threat, or could they potentially represent an opportunity for advancement?
All valid questions, and unfortunately, we don't have any easy answers.
Right, it's all speculation at this point.
It is, but even if we set aside the UAP connection for a moment, there's still the possibility that these New Jersey drone sightings point to something new, something revolutionary within the realm of human technology.
Okay, so maybe not aliens, but still something groundbreaking.
Exactly. Perhaps we're witnessing the early stages of a technological leap forward, something that will transform our world in ways we can't yet fully comprehend.
Like a paradigm shift in technology.
Think about the development of the internet, the smartphone. These were once considered fringe technologies, and now they're an integral part of our lives.
Right. What seems impossible today might be commonplace tomorrow.
That's the beauty of progress. It's always pushing the boundaries.
It is. So where do we go from here? How do we approach this uncertainty, this possibility that we're dealing with something truly groundbreaking?
I think the key is to remain open-minded, to embrace the spirit of inquiry.
Open-mindedness and inquiry. I like that.
We need to encourage further investigation into these unexplained phenomena, to support scientific research, and to foster a culture of curiosity rather than fear.
Curiosity rather than fear. That's a good motto.
It is. It's easy to get caught up in the fear of the unknown, but history has shown us time and time again that progress often comes from embracing the things we don't yet understand.
Well said. And who knows? Maybe these New Jersey drone sightings, however strange or unsettling they may seem, will ultimately lead us to a greater understanding of our world, our universe, and perhaps even ourselves.
That's a beautiful thought, and one that I think is worth holding on to.
It is. Well, we've gone from strange lights in the sky to a discussion about the nature of progress and the limits of human understanding. It's been quite a journey.
It has, and I think it highlights the importance of staying curious, of asking questions, and of never losing that sense of wonder about the world around us.
Well said. And to our listeners, a huge thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the New Jersey drone sightings. We've explored the facts, the theories, the possibilities, and the implications. But now we want to hear from you. What are your thoughts on this mystery? Do you have any theories of your own? Head over to our website or social media pages and share your insights. Until next time, keep looking up, keep questioning, and never stop exploring the boundaries of the possible.